Welcome to this week's Mums on Cloud Nine podcast. This week we are talking about how to achieve a healthy weight after having kids and even starting the perimenopause. So there's a few things thrown in there. I think this is a topic that many women probably want to get their head around. It's something that we can often have a challenge with at different parts in our lives. So I'm delighted to welcome Charlotte Norton here, who's the Chief Medical Officer of the Slimming Clinic, to talk to us about this very important topic and about why it's important for us to have a healthy weight. So Charlotte, welcome to the show. Do you just want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about your story?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for having me. Excited to be here. Yeah, so as you touched on, I'm the Chief Medical Officer at the Slimming Clinic. So I'm a doctor by my trade and a mum by the rest of the time myself. And yeah, I've been in medical practice now for over 10 years, but most of those years have been focused on working in the area of health promotion, especially weight management. I also work within women's hormones as well. So putting all those things together, really, and it's my real passion. I think it's a really important and a very changing area at the moment from the medical perspective as well, which I'm sure we'll touch on as we talk about. But yes, my focus is working with patients, male and female, with regards to weight management. But yeah, and I think what we're talking about today is something that we see an awful lot of patients reach out at the times of hormone flux and change. Can be really tough time to manage weight, which can be hard to manage it at the best of times anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things that can come up in your mind almost daily, can't it? For those of us that are challenged with
Yeah.
weight. So talk to us a little bit about why there is such a challenge with losing weight. What are the things that typically people see and experience?
Oh gosh, wow. Okay, so there's a huge variety of reasons why weight can be hard to manage. And I think one of the things I always say to patients was if eating was purely just controlled by the body's innate appetite control centers, nobody would be overweight. If it was simply an easy of you've eaten enough, you're full, you're done. But there are so many more layers to it that we eat for social interactions, we eat for emotional reasons. Eating's a pleasurable experience. It releases pleasurable chemicals, so we enjoy it. And all of those things come
Mhm.
together to make eating a really important part of our lives. And sadly, some of the things that are probably the worst for us in terms of calorie density taste the best and the ones that we tend to indulge in more of the time. So it can be ever so easy to, over differing time periods, to find that it's incredibly easy to take on those extra calories, those things that over time just amount to increasing our weight. And for some people, it's something that can happen very slowly and insidiously. And as we're going to talk about here today, especially for women, there can be key times in our lives where our hormone profile changes and our hormones have an interplay with hormone and appetite control, which can mean that it can be even harder to manage things like eating, things like exercise and movement as well, which all can lead to weight gain. And then you've
Mm.
always got to think of weight loss in the reverse. You've got to unpick all those things. And at times where things are challenging, when there's lots of other things that you're trying to balance, it can be really difficult. I could talk about all the different reasons why weight can be hard to manage, but I think it's because it's such an important part of our lives in terms of eating and living that actually it can be something that can be so insidious that sometimes you don't realize it's happened until you get to that point where you think, actually, maybe I do need to think about my weight. Maybe my clothes aren't fitting me anymore. Maybe I've gone
If the
up
clothes
to
aren't fitting.
yeah.
Yes.
Then you think, oh, gosh, and you don't really
Mm.
realize it's happened.
I think we all go on these journeys at different parts, don't we? If we share a little bit about, I suppose, our different journeys with weight loss, I think it just probably just shares a little bit what will resonate with the audience. I think certainly during my second child, I think I was eating twice as much as I did before. And so you're feeding the baby, right? Going, oh, I'm feeding the baby, it needs more food. I don't think actually we need to eat more, I'm not sure. But that's your excuse you tell yourself. And I think obviously that those years after having a child, that weight loss and getting that motivation to exercise and everything else was something that I found myself in that cycle really and getting to a point. And it was only really getting to what happened after 4 years was just getting more intolerant to different foods actually. So that helped me with my weight loss in the end because I actually couldn't eat half the things that were presented in front of me. But I think that sort of constant kind of being aware of it and being mindful of you don't feel as good in yourself, you don't feel as confident because you didn't have your figure that you had before. And it's getting back on that motivation and that ladder, I think, just affects your confidence. So I certainly know that it'll resonate with some of the super mums that come through our program. We launched their career. They don't feel like what they used to be. And so I think it's what that's one of the reasons why. Kelly, what about you?
I've always been quite tall and slim most of my life. So I was
Lucky you.
my dad was tall and slim, and my mum was tall and slim before she had me and my brother. So after she had me and my brother Jamie, she became a bit of a larger lady and stuck that way. So I thought, oh my God, it's going to be me. I'm going to be heavier after having a baby. But I have started putting on weight after having the IVF medication. And I noticed that. And then again, I'm not a big heavy eater. I mean, you've got two working people in your house, so you're both working. Then it's your day to cook, and I'm thinking, oh, I want to just order Domino's. It's just easier because I've been working all day at my computer, and then I haven't really walked around. So I did put on weight, but again, it was baby weight, and I've finally gotten to a point where I'm almost at my ideal weight again. I've just got that pot belly left. So my husband's on a health kick, and he's lost a lot of weight, and we eat just meat and like protein, vegetables, no more carbs. I do have a cheeky slice of bread once in a while because I love Turkish bread. But we've just had to change our whole lifestyle. So we live by the coast now. I grew up in London, so everything was 20 minutes away, but we live right by the beach. So we will do a 30-minute walk every day and then a 30-minute walk back. So yeah, I've just had to check. I had to empty out my cupboards. I had to delete the Just Eat apps and the Uber apps. And now it's just protein, vegetables, peanut butter, like what Lynn does, just eating spoons of peanut butter. So yeah, we've had to make a lot of changes, but I'm almost there. So a little bit of belly to go.
You've been working so hard on
really
that, though.
hard.
It's really good.
But you are looking great, Kelly, I have to say.
Thank you. I've got to keep my African booty though, but the rest of it needs to get slimmer.
Amazing. And Lynn, you've been working hard as well, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, what you just said, Charlotte, totally resonated with me, where you said, in a nutshell, we live to eat, we don't eat to live. And I think that is really a real great saying in terms of throughout my life, I've struggled with weight. I've always struggled with weight. But my problem has always been that if I can eat it, I will eat too much of it. Yeah. So I just say, okay, I can't eat that. Like Kelly said, I made a conscious decision 2.5 years ago that I need to lose weight again. So I cut out carbs. I do the no bread, no potatoes, no pasta, no rice, and obviously sugar is in just about everything, but I limit the amount of sugar I eat so that I lost 4 stone initially, and I've kept it off for 2 years now and I quite enjoy doing it, to be quite honest. I quite enjoy knowing I can't have that, so I don't have it. I've done it 3 times now, but the trouble is, it's that thing where you go, I cannot stop doing this, because if I stop or I change, then I'm never going to be able to get back on it again. So I suppose for me, it has meant managing it. But again, it's that confidence that you get. I probably don't get enough. In fact, I don't get enough exercise, which is probably what I need to do. I don't put weight on now, but I don't lose it either. So probably would I like to lose a little bit more? Yeah, probably. If I did a bit more exercise, that might help. But I'm hoping that today you're going to give me this talk on how I can lose more weight and feel better. So I suppose a question from my side is, why is it so important to have a healthy weight? Is it BMI, energy levels? How would you describe that to us?
Yeah, I think also you've all touched on some really key things, which I know we'll come on to later in terms of how some of the best ways to start a weight loss journey are. But why is it important to have a healthy weight? And I say this to a lot of patients. If weight had nothing to do with health, then doctors wouldn't mind. Nobody would mind what people choose to look like. And that doesn't matter. The reason as healthcare providers we worry about weight and excess weight in the form of excess fat weight is because we know it's detrimental to health. For some people carrying excess weight, it can very quickly have an effect on your health. Blood pressure can rise. You can get things like your cholesterol, and things can go up very quickly. Other people, that journey can take a lot longer, but we know at a certain time period it can have these ramifications on health. And there are the obvious things we all hear about. We hear about diabetes, don't we? The development of type 2 diabetes, which left unchecked can have an effect on your kidneys. We hear about the effects on heart health. We know now that it contributes to several types of cancers as well. So there's lots of reasons why, from the health perspective, carrying an excess of fat weight isn't good for us. We also know that fat doesn't just sit there doing nothing. It's a metabolically active tissue, and too much of it can be pro-inflammatory. So it's creating an inflammatory environment in your body, which again has negative effects on things like your blood vessels, negative effects on things like mood. So it can have a profound effect on not only how you feel in terms of mood, it can have an effect on your energy levels. We find that people that are generally more overweight can feel a loss of appetite, a loss of energy. We know that it can have an effect on sleep. Sometimes when we're more heavily overweight, it can affect our ability to breathe so comfortably overnight, which can give disturbed sleep. And then again, that compounds everything. From the health perspective, there are lots of reasons why, as clinicians, we always encourage people to try and lose that excess fat weight. And then from, I think, the quality of life perspective as well, I think most of us would say that when you get to that point when you're starting to carry a level of extra weight, it can start to feel detrimental to your quality of life, can't it? You might start to avoid looking in the mirror. You might not want to look at yourself. You might not want to wear the clothes that you used to like and put them aside. You get back into them. Sometimes we know that people lose their confidence. They don't want to go out so socially because they feel embarrassed. They might not want to take their kids to the beach because they don't want to get in their swimwear. There can be loads of reasons why then it affects your quality of life for you and your family and friends as well. I think you can look at it from two ways. You can look at it from the health perspective. We know there's a multitude of medical studies that tell us. And then I think you can look at it from your lifestyle. How is it making you feel and how is it affecting you functioning and living the life you want? And I think together they're reasons why I believe it's an important thing to focus on and try not to bury your head in the sand. And like you both Kelly and Lynn, you both touched on there that you've taken a proactive response when it got to a point when you thought, no, actually, I've got to do something about this now.
Oh, sorry. Were you going to say something, Lynn?
No, you carry on.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there. So we all know that the media and magazines give us a million different diets and things that you have to do, and no one ever knows what the truth is. And I myself find that keto diet and getting myself into, is it ketosis or ketosis?
Ketosis, yeah.
I can never pronounce that. Getting myself into that state so that my body burns the fat, and that works for me. I've lost weight doing that, and I went through all the different fads, the salmon diet, whatever other diets that you.
Having soup.
No, I do love a cabbage soup
horrible.
though. I love a cabbage soup.
I don't
Delicious.
like that.
But what do you think are the kind of different ways to lose weight, and that and for people with different kind of body styles and different metabolisms, what ways are there?
Yeah. So I think this is why the diet industry is listed with so many different types of diets, because everybody's really different. At the Slimming Clinic, the business has been treating patients losing weight for over 40 years, and nearly everybody does it differently. And the key always is finding what works for you. Kelly, you touched on it for you. You find that sort of higher protein, lower carbohydrate helps you burn the fat. For some other people, some people take differing approaches. Some people like to calorie count, so they aim for a total number of calories a day, and that's what works for them. So I think there's always a little voyage of discovery in terms of what fires up your body the best. From the perspective of what do you need to do? Well, and I absolutely hate when I hear people say eat less, move more, because it's not that simple. If it was, everybody would be able to lose weight easily. But I think it's about finding that sweet balance between taking in less energy and trying to burn a bit more of the energy you've got. And I think if you can find that, you can find the best way. You know, what we tend to say with people that come to us is, right, we're going to find what works best for you, not only from your body's perspective, but also from your household. You know, especially if you are a mum and you've got a family of kids to feed, you've probably got kids that don't want to eat this, so you make them that. Your husband might not want to eat, or your partner might not want to eat the same diet that you do. So you end up cooking about 5 meals, and then it can be a total mess. So it's got to be something that fits you and your lifestyle and is sustainable, because you don't want to go through all this effort of changing things, changing how you eat, maybe excluding the things you enjoy, to therefore find it's not sustainable, and actually you end up regaining the weight. And I think for me, the overall thing is to try and achieve a level of calorie deficit by not taking away everything you enjoy. So both of you've touched on taking out carbohydrates, and no carbs. You hear this an awful lot, but carbohydrates are really important to the body. They're the fuel. They're what your body fuels and uses. And actually your brain exclusively uses glucose as a form of energy to work. So you need carbohydrates to a degree. But what you've both also said is you've got to get out those ones that aren't so healthy for you. So again, your fruits and vegetables are a form of fibrous carbohydrate, your whole grain varieties, your beans, your pulses. So there's loads of ways to get good, healthy carbohydrates. Like you say, steering clear of those white and quickly digested carbohydrates and things. So that works really well for lots of people. And Lynn, you said it works very quickly, not quickly, but you lost a good amount of weight by doing that. But I think also, and you also said, is you've got to keep a little bit of what you enjoy as well, haven't you? Because although we want to lose weight, life is still for enjoying and feeling good. So it's, again, finding that balance. And some people can indulge a little bit and are really good at having the willpower to say, I'll only have 1 or 2 biscuits and that's me. There's others like myself who will eat the whole packet of biscuits. So I can't
That's
have
me
them out.
normally.
Yeah.
I think that could be worse though if you deprived yourself of something and then you go binge on it. It doesn't work.
I just don't binge.
That's very
Because
true.
I know I wouldn't stop.
Yeah, totally. And if you've got small kids, or you're talking about that postpartum time and things like that, you need the energy to run after them. You've got no sleep. Your body will naturally seek out carbohydrates. You'll get that heightened sweetened tooth because your body's looking for energy to keep you going. So you can find your body's fighting against you as well, while you're trying to make your best effort. It's really important not to chastise yourself if you do, because losing weight, a diet isn't broken in one day. What if you have a bad day? If you do eat all those biscuits or you do binge, okay, fine, you haven't had the best day. But as long as you can get your mindset right, starting again tomorrow, you're not going to have totally derailed all the efforts that you've made. If you keep eating a packet of biscuits every day, you might find that slippery slope starts again. But so I wish there was like a magic, do this and you'll definitely lose weight. Sadly, it's not. Some people increasing their exercise or their movement works better for them than necessarily managing their diet really tightly. So yeah, I think really it's about finding what works best for you and your lifestyle that you can do and stick to and sustain.
Makes sense, yeah.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think I've been on a journey where I did rosemary conley early back in the days when I was younger, and it's 18, which kind of it's like, why am I trying to lose weight at 18? But the reality was everybody was like, oh, we need to be fit and healthy, and that pressure at school. And I became completely obsessed with calorie counting to the point that I was having 600 calories a day. I wasn't eating like really enough or anything. And it became an obsession in my head for like about 2 years. And I couldn't let go of that. So I think there's pros and cons, obviously, different ways of losing weight. But calorie counting is something that scares me now, because I think you can just become a bit hung up on it and it's not necessarily then a sustainable thing. There's lots of different options. But on a Monday, I was chatting to a friend and she's been taking like medication to suppress sort of the appetite to eat. Because I think the thing is, especially when you're working at home, all the food's in the next door, right? So emotionally, or the kids have got all the sweet stuff, which probably we shouldn't be buying them. There's loads of temptation, right, around us all the time. And she said the medication was great because it suppresses her appetite. She doesn't want to eat. And I was like, wow, okay. And she said, I've been off it for 4 months and I've completely sustained it and everything else. So Charlotte, can you talk to us a little bit more about that as an option?
Yeah, so weight loss medication obviously has, in the last sort of 18 months, has really raised its head. Lots more people are aware of the fact that there is medication available to help you lose weight. And you're completely right, Heather. It works by having an effect on the appetite control center of the brain. So there's that sort of part of your brain where the signals from your gut, the hormones in your gastrointestinal system all feed back to the brain to reduce hunger. Now, this happens normally in you or I, but these drugs almost amplify that feeling and keep it present in the body throughout the day, as opposed to just in peaks and troughs as it happens naturally. So it works in that appetite control center. So you're right, that perception of hunger and feeling hungry is suppressed. Now, I like to say suppressed, not eradicated, because you don't want to eradicate somebody's appetite, because again, for obvious reasons, you need to eat, and also you need to find a way to sustain that weight and live and manage. But yes, they are an absolutely fantastic tool to help people where they've attempted to try and lose weight themselves, but never managed to fully get control, for whatever reason that would be. And there's no failure in it. I think lots of us have had a dieting history where it goes up and down, doesn't it? You lose some weight, you regain, goes along. So there's no shame in that. But sometimes you just need that little tool, that crutch, that something that kind of, right, this is going to help me break into that. It's going to help me stick strong to what I know I should be doing, to how I should be dieting, what I should be eating. But it just gives you that little bit of extra support. And they are a really fantastic tool for doing that. And also, I think when you choose to make the investment in losing weight, whichever way you do it, whatever you invest in, whether you join Weight Watchers and pay their fee, or whether you buy medication and pay that fee, making a financial investment also sometimes holds you a little bit stronger, doesn't it? I've paid for this, so I'm going to make it work again. So there's a couple of reasons why they're, but no, they are a fantastic tool, and there's a lot of clinical research and studies coming out showing remarkable amounts of weight loss with these medications, of matching to the level of bariatric surgery. So they do present a really good tool for those who want to utilize it. Now, obviously, as a doctor, I always want to caveat they are for people who are overweight and obese and have a raised BMI, which I know you asked me about earlier in terms of BMI as a tool for weight loss. So they're for a certain subset of people that have gotten to a level with their weight. But yeah, they can present a really helpful way for those who have struggled and want to find a new way to support their weight loss endeavours. And as with all medications, you want to be speaking to a doctor or a team, because what's really important is all the things you've said, all of those, you're looking at weight, looking at movement, looking at mindset, are just as important. The medication is almost like a nicotine patch. When you're going to start giving up smoking, you need to use a tool to help you, but you've still got to make all those lifestyle choices. You've still got to change your habits, go for that walk every day, take those sweets out the cupboard, because you can absolutely still go back into those bad habits. So if you think of it like that, as a tool to help support the lifestyle plan that you want, then they can be a great way to give you a bit of a kickstart.
Excellent.
And are there any negative sides to it, Charlotte?
So in terms of the safety of the medications, obviously, you know, it's important that you make sure with your medical history that you're on the right medication for you. But in terms of the safety side, no, there shouldn't be, as long as, again, you've been appropriately assessed. In terms of the negatives, so I guess one of the things that's really important is that if you don't make those lifestyle changes, if you simply use that as a tool to maybe just eat less of what you're eating now, then when you stop the medication, obviously, if you've not changed your ways, like with any diet, you can find that the weight goes back on. So again, I think it's only worth embarking on if you're ready to make all of those changes, because you want to be able to get to your absolute right weight. And again, if you're from the perspective of talking about your friend whose appetite was, or if somebody's appetite is completely gone and eradicated, then they're not eating, then actually we know that can have detrimental effects on the body as well. Your body is a machine. It needs feeding to do its best, for us to think our best, feel our best. So again, taking in an inadequate amount of calories every day as well. And one of the things we hear about, and it's quite often seen in the press, is people losing their hair when they are taking these weight loss medications, because a very quick and dramatic amount of weight loss can have an effect on hair. So again, there can be some downsides, which I could go on, sorry, I can waffle about this for ages. Do stop me if I'm talking too much, because it's not just about how much you're eating and the calorie count it adds, it's what you're eating as well. If you're just not eat with that small amount that you can eat with your appetite reduced, make sure that it's nutrient dense. You're getting all those key vitamins and minerals in for your body so that you feel your best. So they can be a great tool. They need to be used properly. You need the right support with them, and you can get some great results.
That's great to hear. I suppose from my side, again, you mentioned about the different things you can join, Weight Watchers, Slimming World, all of these. Obviously, those are really good because you turn up once a week and you weigh with everyone else. So again, it's keeping you accountable. I suppose from my side, it would be interesting to know, obviously, it's really important to have these changing habits and to ensure that you do this for life, not just for a short spell of time. But in terms of beyond the medication, how would you advise people to gain the habits? And not only that, an interesting question I'm sure the listeners would love to know, is there any foods that have the same effect on your brain as this medication, so they suppress your appetite? Just something that I would be interested to know.
Okay. So one of the things that's really interesting is in America, they have a database of patients who have, and they survey these patients every year, and they're patients that have lost a significant amount of weight and kept it off. And they survey them each year to look for some of the behaviours that they have continued to do, which has helped them keep that weight off. And I think two of the key ones that I always say to patients when they start to get towards this maintaining part of their weight loss is, number one, they stay accountable. They weigh themselves at least once a week. I don't think you need to do any more than once a week, but don't bury your head in the sand. If you weigh yourself every day, you've got to take the average across the week. Never take one day, because your weight fluctuates with so many different things. They stay accountable. And we've touched on that, haven't we, before, about how important it is to say where you are. The other thing they do is they incorporate a level of activity, and they have kept that level of activity up. And that is, within this survey, is a tick to saying they've done at least 20 minutes of vigorous exercise 4 times a week. Now, that can sound quite a lot, especially if you're right at the beginning of getting into doing a form of exercise, or we like to call it movement more than exercise, because somehow exercise conjures up this fear that you've got to all of a sudden go to the gym or go for a run, and not everybody wants to do that. And it doesn't have to be. Movement can be anything more than what you're doing now. I noticed it hugely when I started to work from home. I used to be very active. I'd be out every day walking. When I was in clinic, I used to walk to and fro to get the people from the waiting room, bring them back to my room. And then I sat on my bum all day, and without changing even what I'd eaten, your weight shoots up, just breaking that mold. So I think there are a couple of key things about after medication and finding those lifestyle changes. But there are some other really simple tips, like drinking more water. We see lots of people don't hydrate enough. Hydration is really key for your metabolism, so just keep up some water drinking. In terms of mindset, that can be harder. That can be the hardest part, because we can eat less and we can move more. Saying that sentence I don't like, but actually changing your mindset can be the hardest part of exploring in your weight loss journey. Thinking about, why were there times where you didn't manage your weight so well? Are you somebody who eats a lot more emotionally? Are you somebody who eats out of boredom because you always sit on the sofa and have that snack then because that's just what you do? And sometimes, yeah, we all do it, don't we? Have a habit, or you get in from work and you go straight to the fridge, or you snack because you're making the kids dinner. You eat what they've left because you don't want to waste food or throw it away. There's loads of little things that actually, if you take yourself on a bit of a voyage of discovery with your relationship with food as you go through, that you can tick off a fair few extra calories you're taking in the day, very simply, without even changing your meals potentially. I think that's really important. To your final question, is there any foods or anything that can suppress the appetite? It's a great question. I guess one of the things that the medication does, or one of the important communications, is obviously in medicine, we're learning a lot more at the moment about gut health and the gut response, because your gut does more than simply just transit the food through you. It has a big communication network in the body. And we know that when your gut is fuller and it's a bit stretched, that it releases signals to say you're full. So things like having higher fiber in your diet. Fiber is what passes through your gut. That's what makes your stool. It stretches the gut a little bit. So a higher fiber diet can create that feeling of fullness and satiety when you're eating. So I definitely encourage people, more your fruits and vegetables and your whole grain varieties, and that can give you a level of that fullness. And actually fats are also really good filling agents. So again, having a diet that's rich in healthy fats, so things like your avocados, your nuts, seeds, your olive oils, again, they can have a slightly more filling effect as well, from the fact that they're more calorie dense. So obviously, eating a modest portion, they can have a bit of an effect in that way. So yeah.
That's good. No, that's really good. It's really good to hear. And it's questions that we all have on our lips every day. I think somebody said to me a few years ago when I decided to do this, and probably the word skinny needs to be replaced, but this was what they said to me. They said, nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. Like I say, we might need to replace the skinny bit, but that totally resonated with me. And like you say, when your jeans feel a bit looser, there's no better feeling. It's really nice. So again, that gives you the boost to keep going, I think.
I think it's about how you feel in yourself at the end of the day, because everybody can feel confident in whatever shape they want. Going back to Charlotte's point, there's loads of reasons why, what a healthy weight is, and healthy weight can mean different things for different people. But it's just about you, isn't it? At the end of the day, if you're not feeling comfortable, that's got to be your motivation. And just echoing your point, Lynn, when we've got an outfit on and we feel wonderful, that's the anchor, right? And within coaching we talk about having a positive anchor, and that remembering that feeling of how I felt, that I'm going out and I look good, feel good. You want to carry that with you. So if we can maintain that weight, it's a good place. I think the other thing that just reflected from what you said, and this might really resonate particularly with mums that have just had kids, if there can be any age, right, with kids if they're not sleeping. When I'm tired, my full button light doesn't work anymore. So I don't get any notification I'm full. I just keep eating.
That's interesting.
And I'm more likely to binge maybe that chocolate at 9 o'clock in the morning after the school run. I have been known to go and get the chocolate cheesecakes out at 9 a.m. in the morning before I start, because I'm knackered and I'm like fueling on this stuff. So I think we can have all these goodwill and intentions of going, right, I'm going to be really good, and then it completely goes out the window when we're knackered, we've had a screaming match with the kids, or whatever else goes on. And I think that's why sometimes knowing about these other support mechanisms is really good, because it can be, there can be all sorts of stuff going on in our lives, which kind of makes us struggle with maintaining things, can't they? So I think it's just been really good, Charlotte, to talk about the different options and to know that there's different ways to tackle it, and then be able to sustain it is really important.
Yeah, I think as women as well, we, especially in those time periods, things like postpartum, when you've had a baby, you tend to find a community of other mums, don't you, that maybe have had a baby at a similar time, and everybody's weight loss journey can be different, can't they? It can be some people that seemingly have just popped straight back and look exactly like they did before. And every time you go to a group, they look well presented, sorted out, makeup done, and you think, how are they managing it when you're absolutely exhausted, bags under your eyes, and
we're all sitting there eating cake quite often.
Breakfast cheesecakes.
I would resonate with so many people.
Yeah. And I think it's important to be, I think being kind to yourself as well is really key, isn't it? Because there are times where you can't control everything, and therefore sometimes you have to give in to what your body needs in that moment. And like I said, as long as you own that, I've had that day, I've been like that today, let's try again tomorrow, I think you're still going in the right direction, aren't you? Because we can't all be perfect every day, and it's not a battle that's, and actually in some of, when we look at some dieting research, sometimes actually every so often having a cheat meal, and a cheat meal at a slightly higher amount of calories than your body's used to, it can actually be really positive for your metabolism, because it keeps it a bit shook up. In simple terms, it keeps it guessing. Yeah, and you can't be too mean for yourself. And again, women in our, before the menopause year, women in their reproductive years having cycles, your hormones are changing throughout the month. So that pair of jeans that fit last week, just before you're due on your period, you retain a lot of water, they don't fit, do they? And lots of women find they get sweet tooth cravings before the time of the month. So there's lots of reasons why it can sometimes feel like, even if you've been consistent in what you're doing, all of a sudden your body's letting you down a little bit. But it's something to be aware of. And again, if you're somebody who weighs yourself quite frequently, you'll see that in the pattern of your weight, and you just have to remember this week, okay, I'll ignore that. I know that's not, I haven't gained 2 pounds of fat, I've just got some extra water.
That's interesting to hear that, because I weigh every morning. I just do. I just have done it since I started this. And one day I can be £2 heavier, and then the next day I can be £4 lighter. And I've never understand how that works.
Shifts like that are always water. Your body can't make 4 pounds of fat overnight. It just physically couldn't. It couldn't happen. It is because weight is a big number, isn't it? It's bone, fat, muscle, water. It's the whole thing. So yeah.
Like last night, I downloaded a menopause tracking app for symptoms, because I was like, my body's going a bit all over the place at the moment, and I was particularly with the weight and headaches and things like that. And I'm like, oh, it's perimenopause. And then my boyfriend said, I think you have periods twice a month. I was like, no, I don't. So I'm tracking everything. My kids say I'm media. I'm like, oh my God, I'm turning into my mum. I remember. But I think it's important to track it, right? I think it's important.
Yeah, definitely. And the perimenopause or hormone imbalance can start from your mid-30s. You can start to get an imbalance between your hormones, and it might not yet be having an effect on your actual cycles as such, but we can start to feel the effects of hormone imbalance and hormone change from then as women. So you can, absolutely, some of the symptoms you can experience, it can be because your sort of balance of your hormones one to the other aren't as optimal as they used to be. But it's another area that's getting a lot more publicity. Women are talking about the menopause and perimenopause a lot more openly now, because it can start a lot earlier than you think. And actually, it's only sometimes when you reflect back and think, oh, actually, I was getting really irritable and angry for no reason a couple of 2 years ago, and thought that was just life, busyness and balancing work, life, mum, and all of that good stuff. And actually, no, it was your hormones. It's definitely something to keep a track on, especially if you are having cycles. You look and see how those symptoms compare at different times and things like that. So it's it has a big effect on weight, but also just how you're feeling all round, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think also it's my justification of it's okay to have this chocolate bar because actually I'm only a week due, and this is the time of the month that I can eat it.
I love that justification. Brilliant.
Always seems to resonate. So I'm gonna trust it.
So Charlotte, I know everyone's dying to know about this Living Clinic, but just while I've got you here, it probably takes me about 7 to 14 days to get a doctor's appointment. So I just want to find out something from you. So I'm an Instagram doom scroller, my husband calls me, and I go through these, I see different fads and things like that. So I'm the kind of person who's still got 4 kilos of salmon in their freezer from that salmon fad I had. And the new thing at the moment now is these parasites in their body, talking about gut health. So people were saying, go out and buy papayas and eat all the seeds. Now, what did I do? I bought about 60 papayas, scooped out all the seeds.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
And I'm chomping on these peppery things. And I'm thinking, am I going to make myself sick? In a long way short, so I still got these papayas. Do you think things like papaya seeds and natural things help cleanse these alleged parasites? And is the parasites a real thing that you can cleanse from your body to make your weight loss and absorbing nutrients more easier? That makes sense?
Yeah. So the gut health and the gut microbiota, it's called. So the microbiota is the population of bacteria and other things that live in the gut, are really important. And we know that having a dysfunctional or gut microbiota it is associated with being overweight. So we know that there are some connections. They're not completely clear yet. There's still lots of research happening in this field. So yes, definitely. Your gut, you almost think the bacteria in your gut are one of the first things, and your gut is the first thing that encounters the food you eat. And we know that gut bacteria actually has a role in helping to break down the food for its absorption. So absolutely, by doing things to promote the better balance of good to bad bacteria and good to bad pathogens in the gut is definitely positive, and can only help you with absorption of food, can help you with your weight loss, can help with our hormones. We know that the gut microbiota is actually really important in the metabolism of estrogen, one of our key female hormones as well. So definitely, in terms of the things to do, never do anything in too much excess either. So if you're going to try it, maybe don't, not all those papaya seeds at once. We know that generally there's lots of things out there that you hear about, but generally things that help to promote the good growth of bacteria in the gut are positive. So again, I sound like I'm the queen of fiber, but fiber, because the gut loves to eat fiber. So that's really important, and different types of fiber, because some bacteria at the beginning of your gut likes different fibers to those at the end of your gut. So a good fibrous diet. Hydration, water is important as well. And in a lot of the fermented foods, if you like them, things like your kimchi, your sauerkraut, kefir milks, and all of those are things that help to promote and repopulate the good bacteria in the gut. So I definitely promote those. I'm not 100% sure of the evidence base behind the papaya seeds, but I like your approach to the fact that you want to improve your gut health, because we know that's really important just for overall health. There's lots of connections being shown between gut health and mood and feeling positive, less low, and things like that. So again, I would definitely encourage improving the gut health.
I've got juice for about a year now anyways, but tell us all about the Slimming Clinic. I want to hear everything about it.
Yeah, so the Slimming Clinic, so we exclusively work with patients looking to lose weight. We're completely online and remote now. Before COVID, we had clinics all over the country. Then COVID happened and we pivoted to online, and actually it's worked out really well, because it actually fits in better with everyone's lifestyle, doesn't it? To do a consultation at the convenience of where you are at home. And we're a team. I have a team of doctors, so we're all doctors that work within this field that host consultations with patients looking to lose weight. And we offer a variety of ways to do that. We can give just dietary advice, all the way up to prescriptive medication, as we touched on earlier. So we have a variety of tools available for patients, and we put together programs of care based on looking at things like mindset, looking at diet, looking at movement, and putting those together. So yeah, the company has been going for over 40 years. So we've been helping patients lose weight. So there's nothing we haven't heard. There's no diet you've tried that we won't have heard about. And we pride ourselves on being personalised. So the care you get and the advice you get might be different from anybody else that comes to us, because again, we're trying to work with you around your lifestyle, around your requirements, around your health, and to make sure that you get the right weight loss treatment for you. So it's medically led weight loss. And as I say, we do have these medications as well, because one of the things, if anybody listening or is thinking about medication, I couldn't be more strong about the fact that go to a reputable provider, speak to a doctor, someone regulated. This isn't a time to buy something off social media, which you sadly do hear people doing.
Some horror stories as well.
Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely. It's a prescription only medication for a reason, because it needs somebody to make sure that it's suitable and safe for you. But yeah, as I say, being online, we're national, and any treatments that you buy delivered direct to your door, dispensed by our own pharmacy. So yeah, and it's something I absolutely love. I don't think, to say your sentence of nothing tastes as good as looking good feels, nothing is better than helping people feel better. When people say they finally feel, you see it in the expressions of people that they start their journey off in having a totally different way. They hold themselves and talk to you to where they get to at the end. And so it can be a really positive experience. So it's a fantastic place to work.
Sounds a
Oh.
bit like what we do.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it echoes really everything we talk about on Mums on Cloud Nine is about the ambitious women mindset, and energy is the core thing of that, Charlotte. Finding that place where you've got great energy, how you feel in your body is fundamental part of that, isn't it? So it really aligns with the energy pillar really nicely, what we've talked around today, and really appreciate your insight. I'm going to go and drink some water.
Yes.
Not eat chocolate.
No cheesecakes.
No cheesecakes.
No one ever invites me to a dinner party because they always think I'm going to judge what.
Oh, thank you.
We'll
Oh.
invite you.
You change lives every day, Charlotte. It's great. You know, the
We
thing
love
is,
that.
people come to you and it's intentional support and it creates that accountability buddy again, doesn't it? That's what we echo at Super Mums and Mums on Cloud Now. And it's all about accountability, structure, community of people. And that's what you provide at Slimming Clinic. Hence why I've known you guys for quite a long time and work with your founders as well. So really delighted to have you here. Thank you so much for sharing. If people want to get in touch with Charlotte, they can obviously connect with her on LinkedIn and on the Slimming Clinic as well. They can book in a free consultation if you want to have a chat. So thank you for being here. Thank you, Lynn and Kelly, for
Thank
co-hosting.
you. Thank you.
It's been fascinating.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been wonderful.
Thank
Take care,
you.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.